Hi everybody, it's Tammy with Frou-frou Studio, back with another video, and today we're going to talk about collaging. I hope you'll join me. Okay, so today we're going to talk a little bit about collaging, and let me start by saying I am by no means an expert in this. I was just going to share some tips that I kind of have picked up over time, and kind of what I do in my collages to, in my opinion, make them look more cohesive and balanced. So, probably the first thing and the most important thing is your composition. And I always use what is called the rule of thirds. And I'm going to explain that a little bit. So if you're not familiar with it, then you'll know what I'm talking about. And if you are, then you probably can explain it better than me. I'm gonna try to do my interpretation of what I think that means. So what I've done is I've just roughly, so I can show you kind of what I'm talking about, is I've just taken a piece of vellum and I've divided, it's approximately the same size as this piece of paper, and I've divided it in thirds both ways. And the idea is, if you are to look at the surface that you are working on, in your mind, you want to divide it into thirds both ways. And you want your focal points or your points of interest to hit the intersecting lines on where you've divided it in thirds. So to kind of show you an example, I have this one laid out and nothing is glued down. I just kind of went through and decided where I wanted to put everything. And so now I'm going to lay this paper over the top of it, and we're going to see how close I got to, being in this rule of thirds deal. So if I take my paper and I lay it over where I kind of have everything laid out, and I don't know how well this is showing up on camera, but my girl that I have here is right in the middle of this line. Okay, my cow he is a little bit low. So if I was doing a true rule of thirds, I would raise him up just a little bit so that he hits that line. My flower's okay, my word's okay, and this doesn't really matter because it's not really a focal piece. So I hope, I'm going to try to lift this up. I hope that makes some sense to you and that you can see that on camera, that it, my big pieces are intersecting the lines. Now, what I could do, as far as the stamp goes, I could pull it over to the side just a little bit so that it intersects this other line. And it would be more true to the rule of thirds. But I'm not too worried about that one little piece. So that's kind of that explained. Another thing is, of course, you want to pick your theme. This one, I have this girl, she is a vintage piece that I got at an antique store, and she was actually, someone had fussy cut her out of an old, it looks like a magazine or it could have been, I think it was an advertising card. And so she is very, very vintage and very crumbly, so I need to be very careful when I'm going to put the glue on her. But to me, she looks like a farm girl that is thinking about anything except for working on a farm. So I kind of went with that, and I got this cow out. This cow is also a vintage piece. You can see at one time it was in a scrapbook. He has a little broken foot, but because of where I've placed him, that's really not going to matter too much. And I guess he is really a bull, but I don't have a cow, so I'm going to use him to kind of go along with the farm theme. Again, this flower, I just picked it because I like the size, the oversize of it. I think it's the unexpected. And so I'm going to use that. Again, that's a vintage piece that was in that scrapbook that I got. This is just a sticker, and it is just looks like piled up pieces of little paper with a paper clip. I like that because obviously this, and this don't go with this, and I did that intentionally. It's unexpected. And then I've got some little scraps here, but my overall theme is this word, dream, because in my mind, that's what this girl is doing. She is dreaming of being off this farm and not having to take care of the farm. I also found this quote, which is from Othello, that says, "The honest creature doubtless sees and knows more, much more than he unfolds." And I am going to relate it to the cow, because this bull, because this little guy has probably heard things that she has said that no one else has ever heard. So there's my theme. The other thing that you want to be sure and do when you're creating a collage is use lots of patterns, lots of textures, lots of different things that are going to make your eye travel around the page and look for the unexpected. If a collage is flat and it's boring and there's nothing to say, hey, look at that, then, you know, you're not going to accomplish what you want to accomplish making a collage. You want unexpected things. You want scrap piece of paper with a paper clip sitting next to a girl vintage picture. You know, you want a cow that knows the thoughts of her. You want different textures from old papers, from fabric, from, you know, whatever you want to use, stamps, rubber stamps, sewing if you like to sew. You know, all of that kind of stuff can be incorporated into a collage, and it makes a great piece when you get done. I always like to include typography, some kind of words, written words, or, you know, a quote, or It could be big letters. It could be big numbers, little numbers. You know, that, again, gives your piece more interest and makes the eye want to travel around the page to explore and look for different things that are going on. Of course, colors. You know, you want colors that are appealing. In this case, we have these rusty colors and the pinks, and some browns and a little bit of green. And so when I picked my other things up, I tried to stay in that same color palette because I wanted this one to be, you know, more in the same color palette. I could have gone totally opposite, left these colors, and picked something that was totally to the far end of the spectrum, the other end of the spectrum, and that would have been great too. But in this particular one, I wanted everything to be more in the same color palette. So that's why I picked the items that I did. What else? Repeating items. You know, try to, you know, I think I've said in more than one video, I do everything in odd numbers. There's either going to be 1 of something, there's going to be 3 of something, there's going to be 5 of something. I don't work in even numbers at all. Sorry about that. I still have the scratchy throat thing going on from the weather. Excuse me. Also, you can outline your items to bring them out and make them stand out more. I can show you on one of my Marguerite Miller collages, if I can get my book out of here without... This is the Marguerite Miller challenge. You do a collage every week for a whole year. I did not start at the beginning of the year, so I don't have them all, but I have thoroughly enjoyed this little thing. This is this past week's, and if you can see on here, I took a pencil and I outlined around the butterfly and I outlined around these pencils and created a shadow, and it makes them stand out more so that it appears that they have depth when they're, you know, as flat as they can be on this piece of paper. And I use a Stabilo All pencil, and because you can put it on, and I'll show you here. It's this pencil. You can put this on and outline with it, and then you can take your water pen, water brush, see if this one's got any water in it, and it will work similar to like a watercolor, and you can use that to create your shadows. So I use that a lot. You can also use charcoal. You can use a water colored pencil that is water soluble. Lots of choices. And I think that's it. Contrast, you know, if you decide you want to do something that say I cut a heart out of a piece of paper and I use the heart cutout you know, on something, I can also use that negative space of where I cut the heart out on something else. Those look good in collages a lot. For example, like this. You know, if I have used this circle, then this would be the negative space, and I could also use that, like I'm going to do in this case, to put on the collage. And I think that's it, basically. So let's put this thing together and see how it comes out. And, you know, this is not... You can make a collage out of anything, really. Wrong ink. Magazine, pictures, digitals, cards, old cards, you know, whatever. If there's an image and you like it and you want to do something with it, a collage is great. This piece of paper was in my Cora Create box for this month, and I just thought it was a cool piece of paper, so I grabbed it so I could show you guys. And I think it'll make a really cute little pamphlet or, you know, little small writing journal. So I'm going to decorate it, and then at some point I will find a place to use it. But I thought this would be a good page to show you. Now, granted, this page already has a nice background on it. Ooh, I didn't mean to do that. But you can create this same nice background on your own. I mean, you can see from this that it's, it is, I'm reaching for a baby wipe. Sorry for my reach. That it's basically just some stamps and some music paper and some flowers. I mean, you could create that same kind of thing on your own. And I'll put way too much on there, but maybe it'll be right. I slid up the side. This paper's kind of slick, and I slid up the side of the paper trying to catch the edge. But that's alright. It'll be alright in the long run. I'll just slap a little bit of gesso or something on it if it begs me too much. Okay. And let's see our pieces here. And like I said, I've got to be really gentle with these vintage pieces. And that's one of the reasons that I'm using them in a collage, because some of them are so brittle that they're not going to really survive unless they're really glued down well in something. So collage is great for that. And depending on what kind of collage you do, and you know how it's going to be used, you can do like a matte gel over the top, or you can do Mod Podge, or you know, whatever you'd like over the top of it when it's done. Mine really depends on you know, what the final use is going to be. If I do make a little pamphlet or a book out of this that's going to be opened and closed a lot, then, you know, yeah, I'll probably put gel matte medium on it, or Mod Podge or something like that. Mod Podge. I always want to say Mod Podge. And this is just a little piece of music paper, and that end is a little too straight for me, so I'm just kind of, this is really brittle as well. And this is just to kind of tie in the music that's already on the paper. And let's get my quote here. And you don't have to ink if you don't want to. It's not required. It's really just how you want your collage to look, whether you want it to be inked or not. I'm going to take antique linen and go around the part that's white. Sorry if I'm bouncing, you guys. That seems to be very bouncy today. Just to kind of tone it down a little bit so it's not so white. Okay, and like I said, when that dries, if that's still too dark for me, then I'll just hit it with some gesso or something and line it up. Okay, so let's put our collage together. I know that I want my frame to go around this flower to kind of bring an accent to that flower that's already on there. So, and I'm using art glitter glue on this. You don't have to. You can use a glue stick. But my feeling is, with as slick as that paper is, we're going to do better using the art glitter glue. Put that there. Okay, and the next piece we're going to put on is our cow. We're just going to go again. I'm going to use art glitter glue so I can get him glued down really well before he breaks anymore. I don't want him losing any more feet or legs. And I keep calling him a cow, and I really do think it's a bull, but you get the point. Oh, and I want to stick my quote before I stick his back down. I want to stick my Shakespearean quote right behind him here. Okay. Now I want to stick down my little stacked paper, which, like I said before, has no real relevance whatsoever other than it's the unexpected. Oh, that's a sticker, I do believe. These came from Amazon. They were in a big old pack of different ones. If I can get the back off here, I'll show you in a second. Oh, I truly hate these things. They have a little bit of a wider white border. Than what is on this when I cut it off. Well, pooey. I'm pretty sure this is a sticker. It feels like it. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Then our flower is going to come next. And I originally had the music paper on the other side, but I actually think I want it, whoops, going up this side. We'll put our lady on. Under stamp. And lastly, our little dream. Now, the only other thing that I would do to this that I don't have over here, and so I will do those and then post a picture at the end, is actually bring some rubber stamps in. And the reason I would do that is to tie the background. Look, that got all over me. Tie the background to the foreground by, you know, I'll probably stamp something here and maybe down here. All right, so first of all, let me show you. This is the little pieces, and there's all kinds of little pieces that are different sizes, and they all look like worn paper, and some of them have paper clips, and some of them have like this one has this kind of paper clip, and some of them have the little binder clips, so they're just kind of fun. And then I'll show you a little bit of the outlining. We'll outline her. So you want to do this just very lightly. You can always go back and add more, but you can't take away, so we don't want to get too carried away. Okay, and then I'll get my water pen and I'll get the little one, little point. And don't be afraid, because when you first do this, it's going to appear to be very black. But when it dries, it will not dry. It'll dry more of a subtle gray color like you saw in my other collage. And you can accent as many of these pieces as you want to make them stand out from the background. Like, see if I go kind of up alongside that top piece of paper here. And then maybe around this piece of paper. Around the flower, which that flower needs some more glue. Sorry I got quiet, didn't I? Can't talk and chew gum at the same time, obviously. I think my pen's about out of water. Whoops. Switch to this one. This one's just got a wider point, so I really didn't want to. And just keep working on it until you get it to the level that you want it. There you go. Like I said, that's still wet, and it won't be that dark when it dries. So for what it's worth, that's my collaging tips. I hope that you guys will try collage. It is by far my favorite craft or art work or whatever you want to call it. I just love it, and you will probably see some sort of collage in every journal or tag or whatever I make. So I hope you enjoyed that, and we will be back soon for another video. Saturday I think I mentioned before, the charity event. So but I do plan to do the drawing on Saturday for the journal when I get home. So if you have not left a comment on the other video, which I will link in the description box of this video, please do so, because I'm going to use a comment picker to pick the winner. And if you haven't left a comment, you won't be in the drawing for the chance to win the journal. And thank you again. I do appreciate all the subbies, and I do appreciate the love in my shop this week. And I hope everybody has a good rest of the week, and we'll see you this weekend. Bye.